Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. So hopefully this mic works. I'm gonna speak really quietly to see if this microphone works. I am speaking because I'm a serious lady, and serious ladies speak in a serious tone. I'm talking about the things, and do not forget about the things. Did I put deodorant on? I'm gonna put deodorant on. Long time no see. Wild. Happy to be back. If you don't know, my name is Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bendy, and for the rest of my life, I will be dedicated to practicing flexibility of the mind, the body, and the spirit. This video is going to be about how I lost my spiritual gift. And I lost my spiritual gift through the habit, the lifelong habit that I've had of people pleasing and trying to make everyone happy. And in this video, I will also talk about how I got my spiritual gift back. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be here talking to you. I won't waste any of your time. Let's just get straight into it. So for the past 6 years, I have been on a healing journey. You guys know this. When I had my son, I started to become very aware of how broken I was. The past 6 years have been me accepting my father's decision to not have me in his life. When you have a child, you start to become hyper aware of how the decisions your parents made affected you. And over the past 6 years, I've become very close to you guys, my online community, because a big part of my healing journey and a big part of my spiritual journey was understanding the psychology behind trauma. And a lot of law of attraction text, a lot of law of attraction books really helped me understand how I created this story for myself that was so closely related to decisions my father made. So, as I was going on this journey and learning more about myself, my story, I was able to grow in my gift. And what my gift is it's a gift of communication. God has blessed me with the ability to be able to speak and connect with a lot of people through my words and through this combination of the ability to communicate and then have this spirit of leadership. It's this beautiful little thingy that God made within my soul. As I made video after video after video, I became more empowered in my gift. And I want to thank you guys for that, because I wouldn't be who I am today if not for the past 6 years, if not for every single video that I made and the connections that I made with all of you, as well as my yoga practice. Like, none of that would be possible. It's funny because I've started calling the last 6 years my eat, pray, love, because I've literally learned how to eat. I learned how to eat correctly. I figured out the diet that works for my body. I've learned how to pray. I went from believing that nothing matters and nothing makes sense to having a strong connection to the law of attraction, to ultimately coming back to Christ and letting go of resistance to the Holy Spirit. And I've learned how to love. I've learned how to love people correctly, even though my first experience with the person who was supposed to protect me and love me the most didn't go great. I was able to overcome that and learn how to love the people in my life without letting, past wounds and past scars stop me from opening my heart. So, my Eat, Pray, Love journey, I feel like, has come to an end. Life is all about healing. I will always be healing. But for the past 6 years, I have just felt so separate from my physical, earthly journey. I haven't really been too into the hair and the nails and the clothes and all of those things. And Dominique, me, I love those things. I love makeup. I love hair. I love, putting a lot of effort into my appearance. But over the past few years, like, that has just seemed so superficial based on the root work I was doing within myself. So, all this to say, I have been on this journey and I have been growing in my gift. And I have, in the past taken a break from the more superficial physical parts of this experience, but now I'm at a place where I feel like I'm allowed to enter into a new chapter, and I no longer have to cling on to my spiritual journey for dear life, because that's what I was doing. I was so lost, and I was so scared that love would be taken away from me for so long. For so long, I was just afraid of people walking out on me, that any small thing could happen and lead to this huge trigger. And I'm so grateful that God has been giving me signs that I am in this new mental place, this new spiritual place, where I'm no longer so sensitive and so easily pushed over. And I no longer have this attachment to people in my life where I assume that if they leave, it's going to be because of the reasons that my dad left. Like that whole chapter, and it wasn't a short chapter, it was a 30-year long chapter. That whole chapter is behind me. And I'm so grateful to be able to come here and to make these videos for you guys. I'm off on a tangent. I've officially abandoned my outline, but this is important too. I'm so glad that I'm able to be here and able to make videos from a place of love and loving you, versus making videos because I need validation, making videos because I need approval. I think a lot of people get into influencing, and I'll speak for myself. A lot of people get into influencing because they're looking for something. They're looking for the people who will agree with them, the people who will support them. And that's not a bad thing. Community is awesome. But when you have specific wounds, and you use being an influencer to fill those wounds, like I did, it can become very hurtful. And now we're going to get to the part of this video where I talk about how my spiritual gifts began to diminish. That was actually a good segue. I'm going to read you guys a Bible scripture, and then I'm going to talk about its relevance in this video. Okay, so we're going to do Deuteronomy 8:12, and that is, when you eat and are full and build beautiful houses to live in, and your herds and flocks grow large, and your silver and gold multiply, and everything you have increases, be careful that your heart doesn't become proud, and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. He led you through the great and terrible wilderness, with its poisonous snakes and scorpions, a thirsty land where there was no water. He bought water out of the flint rock for you. He fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your ancestors had not known, in order to humble and test you, so that in the end he might cause you to prosper. You may say to yourself, my power and my own ability have gained this wealth for me. But remember that the Lord your God gives you the power to gain wealth. About 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, because Olivia was only 6 or 7 months, I began to have signs that my mental health issues weren't completely resolved. I have dealt with depression and anxiety my whole life. Like I said, about a year and a half ago, I started to have intrusive thoughts, and I began to see things in my mind that just aren't healthy. And the visions that I would see in my mind would take me to a really dark place that I'd have to use every single law of attraction tool in the book to tread water, to just feel like I'm doggy paddling out of depression. And I remember asking myself, life is so good. That a year and a half ago, that was when, I really started to become financially secure. That was when we were in an apartment, our first place where we lived, where I was truly proud of where we lived. Things were starting to become better. And there were still what I now call demons. There were still things within me that no matter how much yoga I did, no matter how much meditating I did, no matter how much all of the things, no matter how much nervous system soothing I did, these voices and these spirits would just continue to come back and haunt me. And one day I was just like, you know what? I have nothing else to lose. I have nothing else to lose. What do the Christian iMusic station, what they got going on? I remember I got onto Apple Music, iMusic. I got onto Apple Music and I was just like, yo, just put the Christian radio on shuffle and let's just see what happens. And that was the start. I remember I turned it on and I didn't turn it off for like 2 days straight. And something beautiful happened, but this is not my testimony video. So, and I don't know when that video is coming because God's not telling me to make it yet, but I'm taking you on the path with me, okay? So I realized that at that time, I believed I could truly have both. I can believe in the law of attraction and I can be a Christian. And now I know a lot of you, your ears probably perked up and you're like, oh, see, I knew it. She became a Christian and now all the other videos that she's made, she's throwing out the window. I know that, that might be what you're waiting for. I'm gonna tell you right now, I always will believe in the law of attraction. The Bible says over and over and over again, seek God, you find God. You look for him, you find him, you keep your mind on him, and magically, everything in your life goes beautifully. It's not magic, it's God. We were created to use our focus and our attention to communicate to God, to show our loyalty and our love and our alignment. Now, where the law of attraction comes in, it's not so much the law of attraction, it's the culture behind the law of attraction, which is also known as New Age. So, as I began to explore Christianity while dealing with anxiety and depression and still making law of attraction videos, I found that my journey continued to accelerate forward in my physical reality. Things continued to improve, but finally, in my spiritual reality, I started to feel real peace. Real peace. For a long time, it was superficial peace, and we could talk about that term, like whether that term even really makes sense, but superficial peace, like I'm okay with other people. I'm okay with things that happen on a daily basis. I have peace with that. I had that type of peace, but I did not have peace with my story. I did not have peace with the reality I experienced growing up. And nothing I did could allow me to forgive the people who were responsible for the things I experienced when I was younger. I tried. I tried time and time again. And, I would meditate on it and feel peace. And then the next day, just be mad all over again. So finally, I'm at this place in my journey where I'm truly starting to forgive and I'm truly starting to let go. And these new opportunities and these new pathways are opening up in my life and it's becoming so exciting. But as this began to happen, speaking about the law of attraction stopped feeling so good. And I didn't know why. When we moved into this home about a year ago, that is when, this house was a huge blessing. And when we moved here, it was really when I started to sit down to make videos and I began to do it out of obligation. And it wasn't so much obligation like, oh, I have this online community. I need to feed you guys. You guys will be okay without me. You don't need me. But it was more so I knew how far I had come. I knew how close I had been to deleting myself in the past and then being able to come to this place where I have a healthy marriage and 2 healthy children. And I felt an obligation to at least share what got me to that point. Even though I wasn't fully connected to the information, I think I was telling myself a story like, oh, I'm just not passionate anymore because I've known about it for so long. And, it's not new anymore. So it's not as shiny. I'm not passionate about it. So I continued to make videos, and I'm sure you guys who have watched me for years, I'm sure you could tell that there just wasn't as much fire and excitement and Dominique behind the videos. When I took my break over the past few months, I think I've only been gone for like 2 months. It hasn't been super long, but on my break, I finally realized what it was. I didn't know I was gonna come back if I was gonna come back to YouTube. I just thought, maybe I will just live a normal life with my family and, you know, like I don't have to make videos and be on the internet. It's fine. And then one day I just realized I don't want to make manifestation videos anymore because the language of manifestation is proud. This idea that we manifest things through our own power, I can't vibe with it anymore. It's funny because all of the steps that you would take to co-create with God, they're the same whether you go the law of attraction route or whether you decide to come on over to the Christianity wagon. It's the same. The steps are the same. I made my husband laugh. The steps are the same. But where your spirit is and the part that you believe you play and the part that you believe God plays, it's not the same. It's not the same. And from the law of attraction perspective, the idea that if I do these things, I can manifest this in my life. I understand how far that could take some of us. It brought me very far. But I think this is a good place for me to say that that's no longer my path. And it's no longer my path for me to teach you that. If these videos are no longer for you, they will be Christ-based, they'll be biblically based. If that is not for you, I understand. I am so grateful for your attention over the past few years. I'm so grateful that you have allowed me to walk with you on your journey, and the past doesn't have to be erased just because the future is going in a different direction. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for making my life better and dedicating your time and your attention to me by just clicking that little subscribe button. And if you click unsubscribe right now, that's okay. I still appreciate all the time that you were subscribed. I get it. I do. I understand. But I have to be honest and I have to be true. And I have to do what God tells me. Like, that's the bottom line. I have to do what God tells me. So when I realized that the language of manifestation was proud, I started to really allow that to sit on my mind. And I continued to ask God, show me how it's proud. Show me if I am doing and saying things that do not align with what you would have, how you would have your children live. Show me, because I want to be obedient. And as I was asking God to show me, I was also going to church. And we're gonna do some church videos. We're gonna make some videos about church. But here's the thing about church. You do not go to church to find a bunch of loving people and to have a party. That's why I thought you went to church at the beginning. I thought you went to church to go see people and love Jesus and party. No, church is filled with angry, sad, broken people. The church is filled with angry, sad, broken people. So when you find a church and you continuously go, everything that you have within you will be triggered over and over again. As you choose to be vulnerable, as you choose to let people in, everything that you have deep down is going to come up and you're going to have to face it and deal with it if you want to continue to go to that church and continue to be yourself with an open heart, which is what God asks of us. So I continue to go to church, continue to ask God to show me the right path. And I don't know when it happened, but the passion to speak, to share just came back. And, I've known that I've lost my gift. I've known it for a little while now. I'm going to say for sure a year. It's been at least a year since I've spoken to someone about a concept and have felt my soul connect to theirs and have felt that beautiful moment of epiphany. And the other day, my children and I were sitting outside. This young man was walking up the road and he was like maybe 17 or 18. And I said hi, and the kids, my kids are friendly. They said hey, and then like they ran up to him. And I was just like, hey, how are you doing? And he was very friendly, and like something in me, I don't know, like as Christians, we just have trackers on each other because I was just like, what church do you go to? And he told me what church he went to. And he confessed to me, he was like, I'm new to my faith. I don't even really know where to start with the Bible. And I was like, hey, I'm newly back into my faith as well. It's okay. Start where you are. But my mouth just started going. And that's how I used to be with the law of attraction. My mouth would just start going and I would be like, I have to record this or I have to start writing some of this down. But like my mouth would talk on its own. And over the past few years, it started to become like effort. Like I'd have to sit and like really pull stuff out of me versus a flow that used to happen before. And when I was talking to this young man, I explained to him that, you know, my philosophy with the Bible is read it from the very beginning because everything that we read shows us how Christ became the person that he is. Because us as individuals, we are all the result of every single life that came before us. We all have little parts of our personality are all reflections of all the people that came before us in our bloodline. So when you read the Bible, you're literally seeing how Christ became the person that he was. And I'm going to try to rein it in because, ooh, when I start talking about Christ, when I was telling him about this, he looked at me in this way that I have not experienced in so long. I would speak to people, and this thing would happen where I would be able to see them give me their complete undivided attention. Because a lot of times when you're talking to people, a lot of times they're thinking about what to say, a lot of times they're half listening and then thinking about something else. Like, it's just our society, it's just culture. It's not something I take, you know, personally, but I didn't even realize it was something that I was missing. Talking to a person, explaining my perspective to them, and seeing them realize in the moment, like, I want to listen to her. I want to hear what she's saying. And on top of that, I was not looking for the words. The words were just coming through me. And in that moment, I realized my gift was coming back. I could talk about this for a very long time, but I'm not going to do that because we have stuff to do. You have stuff to do. I have stuff to do. But I am back. I am making videos. I don't know how often, but guys, I couldn't stop if I wanted to. If I wanted to stop, I couldn't. Because God has blessed me so much. I can't stop making videos. I can't stop sharing. I just love you. I just love you. And I'm so grateful that you're here. You're tuned in. Thank you for watching. So, what did I used to say? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up so that people on the tube of you know that it's valuable. Also, if you would like to be notified when I come out with a new video, click that notification bell and you will be notified. And finally, please make sure that you subscribe so you can be around for future and upcoming videos. Yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.